Just days after that disturbing video of elderly patients being moved out of the nursing home in Gallatin because of a coronavirus outbreak, there are plans to reopen the facility. In fact, it could be back in business tomorrow, despite objections from Sumner County officials who call the idea irresponsible. They called News Channel 5 investigative reporter Jennifer Kraus. Jennifer, they say it's too soon.
Absolutely. They tell me that they have no confidence in the facility right now or the Tennessee State Health Department. And they say the state's plan to reopen this nursing home now will only put more lives in danger. That's why they called us to express their concerns and sound the alarm.
And I'll tell you this, I would not want one of my loved ones to be in that facility right now.
The Sumner County mayor and the mayor of Gallatin.
And I'm certainly concerned for their patients and for the families and friends of those patients.
Along with a county commissioner, emergency management director, and the EMS director.
So how much faith do you have in this facility right now?
Little to none.
Are all voicing deep concerns about a plan to reopen the Gallatin Center for Rehabilitation and Health by Thursday, less than 3 days after the last resident was moved out.
And they are forcing us into a situation, I believe, that's unsafe. And that's why I asked you to come out today, because I'm willing to call them out.
Emergency workers in hazmat suits began moving sick patients out last Friday night. Since then, 4 residents have died, and more than 70 residents, along with 36 employees, have tested positive for coronavirus. But the state health department says the facility is undergoing a deep cleaning, and once that's done, patients can move back in, including some of those who tested positive for COVID-19 but are no longer showing symptoms.
We're completely reliant on the state health department to be the protector in this situation, and we're not getting the feedback we need from them.
These elected and emergency officials believe it's too soon to reopen.
I implore you to stop and think about what you're doing, slow this process down.
They say testing should be done before anyone is allowed back in.
To ensure that there's no virus in there. That's what we want.
They also want to make sure the facility has enough trained staff and policies in place to prevent anyone else from getting sick.
Our biggest concern is we're going to repeat this same process over again.
And they're concerned not only about the residents and staff here, but also of the emergency workers who were called in from Sumner and surrounding counties to move all the patients to area hospitals. They say crews went through hundreds of PPEs.
We just want to make sure that our people are protected.
And that, they say, means not rushing things and putting more lives in danger.
It would be common sense to wait a couple of weeks or 3 weeks to ensure that this virus is gone before we bring these seniors back in.
After all, these seniors and the staff here are their neighbors, friends, and even in some cases, family.
And I think we owe it to them to ask these tough questions at this point in time, just to say, hey, before we pull them back in there, let's make sure that we're doing it right.
Now, the governor's office told me that a state surveyor was going to be in the facility today, inspecting that facility and making sure that it was safe for the residents to re-enter. We asked if that was going to include any sort of testing, and they never got back to us. We also want to mention that we have reached out repeatedly to both the administrator and the owner of the nursing home in the last week, and they have yet to respond to any of our questions.